I've just spent all of May and first week of June making sure that all plants we've still got in pots have either been put in ground outside or we've moved them on into bigger containers. And regardless of all that effort, I've still got some plants left. So I think what I'm going to do with them is, just beyond one of Oop Tunnels, we've got some spare ground that's got nothing in it. So I think I'm just going to do a random planting of whatever's left all in that same area and see what we get out of it. I'd rather do that than just leave them in these pots and watch them wilt and die. So we can have a nice mix of all different types of plants all growing together. Because we've got plants like this that are a really good size. More of those courgettes that actually grow round rather than long. But you can see that because it's in a pot, the leaves are dying back. It's really struggling. A lot of these leaves are yellowing, which is not a problem because once they go yellow, we take them off anyway. But if we leave it in pot, everything is going to end up going yellow. And we've got lots of flowers on these plants, all being male ones at the moment. So plants like this deserve to be put outside and given a chance. And the same thing with this. This is another cucumber, and it is an outdoor cucumber called Market More. So it's a ridge cucumber. And this one's trying to put growth on, but it's struggling. It's in such a small pot. You can see that the root systems are getting very dense now. So this plant's not going to do any more than this unless we move it on. I've also still got a few tomato plants left as well, and they're all trying to flower. I think some of these are those cherry falls, so some of these really need to be in a container. But definitely not left in a 9cm pot. So whatever plants I can find today are all going out there, in no particular order. Although it is quite windy today, so when I go out and put these plants in ground, I might have to mute audio, or at least reduce it right down. But before I get started with that, I need to go around and water everything, because it's getting really warm in this greenhouse, and things are starting to wilt because of that. So priority at day, make sure everything has got a nice adequate amount of moisture inside that compost. And don't top water your plants either, as you're going to burn your leaves. Just water around the base of them. So we'll do that, and then I'll come back and we'll get all these extra plants put outside. Just before we get started today, thank you very much to Sheila Thomas and Sylvia Dowell, who have both made donations to this channel today. It's massively appreciated, and it looks like at the weekend we'll be popping out and getting a bit of extra compost, and then we can add a few more things to that container garden. This is that bit of waste ground that we've got as well. That's all covered up because it's got brassicas in and new seedlings that I don't want digging up by cats. But this little bit here has got nothing in between end of that tunnel and those onions. So that's the perfect place to get all these extra plants in. We'll just give it a quick dig over first. So again, that a quick dig and a bit of a rake. It's a bit lumpy than we'd normally use, but it is an experiment, so we'll see how they go. I just popped into other greenhouse and I found even more plants. These ones are Savoy cabbages. Nice little plants, definitely need to get those in. And yet another courgette plant. We've got a few of these dwarf broad bean plants left, and you can see they're starting to flower. The roots on bottoms, as always on these type of plants, are quite excessive, and they're fighting their way out at the bottom now. I think there's 3 of these plants, so we'll put all those in as well. And I found another cucumber. So basically it's just going to be a case of go around garden, find every single spare plant that I've got and make up this mixed bed. Except for this one. This is a melon plant called Sweet Crimson. We're keeping this one to grow in this greenhouse at some point. So at the moment we're just trying to encourage it to get bigger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up a really strong batch of liquid seaweed and pour it all over that area, so we've got nutrients in that ground straight away. I'm going to start off with these Savoy cabbages because we've got some spare netting and I've got some more of that blue piping, so I'll be able to put that piping in and cover these brassicas up to keep butterflies off them. As I said, it's a bit lumpy this, but it's an experiment at end of the day, and we'll just see how things get on. And as always, we're planting deep to take that bend out of that stem. I'm going to put 4 in this area and then I'll save 1 or 2 for containers. So that'll do for those. Then I'm going to pop one of these courgettes in as well. Nothing fancy about this planting today. It's just straight in and job done. And we've got an even bigger one. Making sure I firm those in nicely. Obviously I'm going to have to stake that at some point. I don't want them growing across ground if I can help it. And next to those, a couple of these outdoor cucumbers. In, firm down, done. So that's 2 rows done. Now, some dwarf broad beans. Probably not best at days to be doing this without wind, but I just want to get them done now. And that's why. Got a couple more of these left and that's them done. And I've got some small cauliflower plants as well that are desperately needing a bit of water and a bit look of it. Let's get some of those in. And I'm only doing these a foot apart like we did before. I'll just keep pulling those weeds out as I go. Just put 1 more in here. Then there's a couple we can save for a container. And that's cauliflowers in. Now I'm going to add some of these spare pepper plants that we've got as well. And I think these are the ones that grow long and they're a sweet pepper. But if we leave them in these packs, they're not going to be anything. And last, I'm going to put in 3 of these cherry falls, dwarf tomato plants. I'm only putting 3 in so we can give them a little bit more room. and that will finish this area off. A quick and easy job again today. If we're hoping to get anything out of these plants, they need to be in ground now. Leave that label there. And that's his last plant going in. And that bit of extra netting I've added, using a couple of old metal bars and some water piping, is going to keep cabbage white off of those new plants we've just put in. So we'll see how this goes. I think it's much better to create that random bed than let those plants go to waste. At least now they've got a fighting chance. And even if we only get a small harvest from there, we're getting something. So if you've got some plants that you've not done anything with yet, maybe create a random bed just like that. It's getting really hot in this greenhouse now. Don't forget it's going to be really hot over the weekend. Keep your eye on that watering, and also make sure that you stay hydrated as well. If you want to see how these plants turn out over the next few months, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and we look forward to seeing you then. Enjoy your weekend. Take care.